Guys, so really quickly before I start the video, I want to make a quick announcement. I am now on Instagram, and I also now have a Facebook page that is specifically dedicated to budgeting, wealth tips, finance, all of that good stuff. So if you have an Instagram and or a Facebook, feel free to follow me on both of those. You may as well do it anyway, because any upcoming giveaways that I do, you will have to do that anyway, so you might as well go ahead and do it now. So I'll be putting some exclusive content over there that I never ever put on YouTube. Why? Because I only talk to you guys here 3 times a week anyway. There's no possible way I can make all the videos that I need to do for YouTube to show you guys some of the things that you'll see over there. So without further ado, go ahead and do that. I'll leave the links down in the description box if you need me to. The social media handles again are the same as what I have on YouTube at The Real Coach Key. So follow me over there, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the video. What's up, you guys? It's KeAmber Vaughn, aka Coach Key, coming back to you with another video. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and if you're not new, welcome back. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and also tap the bell so that you are notified of every new video that I post. So as you guys can tell by the title of this video and what you saw on the thumbnail, we are now on the next video in the series, The Confessions of a Millionaire. Now in this series, I basically go through some alternative views and opinions that may not be as popular as some of the most popular opinions in the finance community. Now, I'm pretty sure from this title, you were probably thinking this girl is absolutely crazy, and whoever this millionaire is that said this cannot possibly be a reputable person, but guess what it is? So these opinions and alternative views are actually coming from a very, very popular millionaire in the finance space, and he goes by the name of Robert Kiyosaki. So back a couple of years ago is when I first started to really dive into a lot of his books and different things like that. And so today's video is going to be a little bit different because I am going to be reading some excerpts from his book titled Increasing Your Financial IQ. Now, if you have not read that book, I'm almost certain you can go to his personal website and download it for free, the PDF version. I'm pretty sure that's how I got my hands on it. If not, you can probably scour the internet, or you can just purchase the book outright. I'm not sure how I got my hands on it, but I'm pretty sure it was through email, his email service or system or something like that. But without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So when he talks about the 401k and 403b in this book titled Increasing Your Financial IQ, after I read this, I will be honest with you guys, I went ahead and withdrew the money from my 403b because it just made sense at the time, and still to this day, I would have still done the same thing. I do not have any regrets for it. Now, like I have to say in a lot of videos that are like this, I am not saying that what he is saying is correct. I'm not saying that the way you do things is incorrect. I'm not trying to convince you to do either of those things. The only thing I'm trying to do is bring forth different opinions and different views, because it seems that most people tend to listen to only one person in this finance budgeting community, and there are so many other ways for you to reach the level of financial success that you want to reach without having to do what everybody else is doing. Again, not saying that what everybody else is doing is wrong or right, just another way to do things. So the first excerpt that I'm going to read is from chapter 1, and it's titled, What is Financial Intelligence? So he goes on to talk about how the change in the rules of money came when it came to retirement in the United States. So it says, another change in the rules of money occurred in 1974. Prior to 1974, businesses took care of an employee's retirement. They guaranteed the retiree a paycheck for as long as the retiree lived. As you probably know, that is not the case any longer. Pension plans that pay an employee for life are called defined benefit or DB pension plans. Today, very few companies offer these plans. They are simply too expensive. After 1974, a new type of pension plan emerged called the defined contribution or DC plan. Today, such plans are known as 401ks, IRAs. Simply put, a DC plan has no guarantee of a paycheck for life. You only get back what you and your employer contribute, if you and your employer contribute anything. It says a survey by USA Today found that the greatest fear in America today is not terrorism, but the fear of running out of money during retirement. One of the reasons for this pervasive fear can be traced back to the 1974 change in the rules of money, and the fear is valid simply because the United States educational system does not equip us with the tools and the knowledge and the education and the good financial habits that we need in order to succeed financially out in the real world. I still remember back when I took a couple of finance classes in high school and even all the way up until college, I didn't really learn anything that I could really apply in real life. The only thing that I can even remember of really learning something that I could apply was like writing checks and balancing checkbooks, which neither one I do. I mean, I guess I kind of balance checkbooks kind of sorta, I guess, because you know, I write out all of my expenses. I make sure that all the expenses that are in my transaction history in my bank account match what I have on paper, but that's kind of like totally different, in a totally different way than what I learned in class and in school. So then he talks about going through and how this fear led to the government creating Social Security and Medicare. These were created as safety nets to solve financial problems for people who do not know how to solve their own financial problems. Well, as we all know, both plans are bankrupt. He goes on to talk about how in 2008, the first of 78 million baby boomers began to retire, and most of them don't have or didn't have enough retirement income to survive. According to the U.S. government, the obligations for Social Security are approximately $10 trillion, and the obligation for Medicare is $64 trillion. If these numbers are accurate, that means the $74 trillion owed to retirees by the U.S. government is more money than all the money available in all the world's stock markets. This is a big problem that needs financial intelligence to solve. And then he proceeds to go on to talk about how in 2007, the Congress of the United States opened up an investigation into the current 401k pension plans and mutual funds facilitated by the bankers that we trust with our money. It was an excerpt that came from an edition of the Wall Street Journal that appeared March 14, 2007. It's titled, "What is your 401k costing you?" It says 401k plans aren't required to make clear how much participants are being charged in fees. And there can be a lot of them, including charges to cover independent audits, tracking and maintaining accounts, advisory services, as well as helplines, and of course the basic expense of managing funds in a plan. The growing tension over 401k expenses spurred federal lawmakers last week to probe whether spotty disclosure of fees make it difficult for employees to know if they are getting a good deal. It says the problem with these fees is that even your employer can't understand them. In fact, your employer doesn't even know about some of them because they are hidden. So how can you be expected to know or understand the fees yourself? The article goes on to say now some employers are hiring outside consultants just to help them understand the fees. But one area of concern is the high fees, the complexity, and potential conflicts of interest associated with the so-called revenue sharing agreements. These often involve payments by a mutual fund company to a 401k plan provider to compensate the provider for services such as account maintenance. These costs are often built into the expenses of the funds offered in the plans and help to increase the cost to plan participants. It says, in reading these excerpts, it becomes apparent how easy it is for retirement fund providers, that is bankers, to grow rich off your money. As I mentioned earlier, banks were created to protect your money. Now they work to take it from you. The tragedy of the situation is that we make it so easy for them, we don't even have to walk into the bank anymore. Instead, money is taken directly from paychecks before it even reaches our hands. Bankers don't have to take it from our pockets because it never even goes into our pockets to begin with. Now, later on in this chapter, he goes into even more detail about why it's important that you have your money invested elsewhere instead of a retirement account, because your retirement account is taxed at the highest taxable rate, just as if you were working a regular job. So if your retirement income is already less than what you take home now, and what you take home now is an issue, think about the fact that you're taking home less money and you're being taxed at the same high rate. So he talks about how if you take that money and you put into different investments like real estate and other investments out there, you will actually fare better. And then later on in the chapter. He then even talks about how, you know, the government doesn't do well with the money that it has. It takes in money and it figures out a way to spend it. You know, when you think about the cities and the states and the counties and even the federal government budget, it's pretty much almost always at a deficit. So we're putting our money in their hands to take care of in the route or the way of 401ks and 403bs, and then we're expecting for them to take care of our money in the best way possible when they're not taking care of our money to begin with in a different way. And so he then starts to write down like assets and liabilities. He has a bunch of different charts, and he says for you to realize and notice that he puts the retirement income as a liability because technically it's an unfunded liability until it becomes an asset, meaning until you actually retire. And if you're banking on your 401k for your retirement, you'll be paying the highest percentage in taxes again because it is taxed as earned income. Now again, if you are contributing to a 401k or 403b, this is not to say that what you're doing is wrong or what people are telling you to do as far as investing is wrong. But when you really think about it from a statistical standpoint, like he said earlier, there's so many people that are retiring on a daily basis, and the majority of their income is going to have to come out of the stock market. But the money that has to come out is more than even what's even in the stock market to begin with. How is this going to continue on? You know, I'm only 27 years old. I have no idea what the stock market is going to be when I turn 65. But what I can say is when I started to look at my 403b statements and I seen that if I continue going at the rate that I was going, after 40 years, I would only retire with a $6,800 a month income. And it's like, oh, $6,000 is a lot, $7,000 is a lot, when in actuality it's not. Because as a new grad, I was already earning about $3,600 to $4,000 a month. So the fact that I had to continue slaving for 40 years in order to retire with just a little over like maybe $2,000, $3,000 a month or more, that says a lot. And we don't know what the rate of inflation will be. We have no idea. Milk might be $200 by then. You know, you just kind of never know. So I didn't want to keep my money somewhere where I couldn't access it at any point in time without having some kind of penalty. And I also didn't want my money to be somewhere where I couldn't access it until I was a certain age, which he talks about that as well. I'm not sure if it's in this particular book or another one because I've read so many of his. But what if I don't make it to the age of 65? I hope that I do, but what if I don't? Then I just did all of this contributions for nothing. I could have used that money and invested in something else that could bring generational wealth, regardless if I made it to a grandparent age or not. So again, these are just alternative views. If you like what you're doing, keep doing it. I never make these videos to try to persuade you to do something other than what you're doing. It's just to bring awareness that there are other options and there are other valid opinions and views when it comes to some of the most popular opinions and views in this finance world, in this financial space. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure that you follow me on my new Instagram and also my Facebook page. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.